Manchester United are heading into another huge Premier League weekend, and the pressure is already building around Old Trafford as Michael Carrick prepares his squad for Sunday's meeting with Ipswich Town. After the disappointing opening day defeat, this is not simply another league fixture for United. It is a chance to respond, put points on the board, and show the character, intensity, and attacking ambition that supporters expect from a Manchester United side. The atmosphere at Old Trafford could be electric, but the big question is whether Carrick can find the right balance with several players, either returning from injury, unavailable, or still building their fitness. One of the biggest positives for United is the situation surrounding Lisandro Martinez. The Argentine defender is now fully available and is expected to be considered for a role at the heart of the Manchester United defence. His return could be absolutely massive for Carrick because United need leadership, aggression, and composure at the back. Martinez brings that bite into challenges, his ability to step forward with the ball, and, perhaps most importantly, the mentality to defend under pressure. United supporters know exactly what Martinez can bring when he is fully fit. His presence can give the entire defensive line greater confidence, while his ability to play out from the back could also help United control possession higher up the pitch. Carrick will still have to decide whether Martinez is ready to start or whether his minutes need to be carefully managed. But having him back in the squad is undoubtedly a major boost. Then we have Mason Mount, another player who could make a huge difference. Mount narrowly missed the opening match after failing a late fitness test because of a minor foot problem. But his recovery has progressed positively, and he is now closing in on a return. He has been working in training, and barring any late setback, there is a strong possibility that he could feature against Ipswich. For Carrick, Mount's availability would provide another important option between midfield and attack. His movement, pressing, energy, and ability to arrive in dangerous areas can give United another dimension. Against an Ipswich side that may defend compactly at times, United need players capable of moving defenders around and creating spaces, rather than simply relying on individual moments. But while there are encouraging developments, there is also some frustrating news. Amad Diallo is expected to miss around 6 weeks after suffering an ankle injury during a late training session. That is a serious blow for United, particularly because Amad has developed into an increasingly important attacking option. His ability to carry the ball, beat defenders, and create opportunities can be extremely valuable in matches where United are forced to break down a stubborn defensive block. Losing Amad means Carrick must find another solution on the right side of the attack. Does he trust another wide player? Does he change the shape? Could he use a more central attacking midfielder and ask the fullback to provide width? These are exactly the selection questions that make this week so interesting. There is also no return yet for Manuel Ugarte. The midfielder remains unavailable following surgery on a serious knee ligament injury suffered during the summer. His absence is particularly significant because United have been reshaping the midfield and looking for greater physicality, defensive security, and ball-winning ability. Ugarte would have offered Carrick another defensive-minded option in the middle of the pitch, but his recovery will take time. United therefore have to continue with the midfield options currently available and avoid taking unnecessary risks with players who are not fully fit. Matthijs Deligt is another player who will not be available for Sunday. The Dutch centre-back has recently returned to grasswork at Carrington as he continues his rehabilitation from a long-term back problem that required surgery. That is certainly encouraging, but United's medical team will not rush him back into competitive football. Deligt needs to rebuild his fitness properly before returning to Premier League action. So, Reds, Carrick's squad situation is a mixture of positives and problems. Martinez is available. Mount is closing in on a return. Deligt is back on the grass but still unavailable. Ugarte remains sidelined, and Amad faces a lengthy absence. Now let's move to the transfer market, because this is where things become even more exciting. Manchester United are expected to officially announce Carlos Baleba's transfer today, according to the latest reports. If that announcement arrives, it would represent another major step in United's summer rebuild. Bareba has been one of the names most strongly associated with Manchester United throughout this window, and his arrival would add another powerful, energetic, and athletic midfielder to Carrick's squad. The Cameroonian has the physical qualities to cover ground, win challenges, and help United become much more aggressive in midfield. For a club that wants to compete at the highest level again, strengthening the engine room is absolutely essential. United cannot afford to be dominated in midfield, especially against Premier League opponents who are prepared to press aggressively. The question now is how quickly Bareba can adapt. Will Carrick throw him straight into the team once he is fully fit, or will the coaching staff gradually introduce him to Premier League football? And could Bareba eventually form an exciting midfield partnership with the other new additions? That is something United fans will certainly be watching closely. But Bareba may not be the final major addition. Manchester United are also reportedly pushing strongly for Alejandro Balde, with the Barcelona left-back emerging as a major target. Reports suggest United are currently leading the race and have already made an offer, while Balde's representatives, including Jorge Mendes, have been involved in discussions. Balde being left out of Barcelona's squad has only increased speculation around his future. For United, the attraction is obvious. The left-back position has been an area requiring serious attention, and Balde would offer pace, attacking thrust, and the ability to stretch opponents from deep. His recovery speed could also be useful when United lose possession and are exposed in transition. However, there is a major financial question. How much would Barcelona demand? Reports have suggested a potential deal in the region of €30 million to €60 million, depending on the structure and bonuses. That is a huge range, and United will have to decide whether Balde represents value for money. Personally, I think this is a fascinating situation. If Carrick wants aggressive fullbacks who can support a high-tempo attacking system, Balde certainly fits the profile. But United must also make sure they do not overpay, simply because another club knows Manchester United are desperate for reinforcements. And then there is Lewis Hall. United have reportedly ruled out the financial commitment currently required to convince Newcastle to sell Hall. That means a temporary solution could become more attractive, potentially keeping Hall on United's radar for next summer. This could actually be a smart strategy. Instead of spending huge money simply because the position needs strengthening immediately, United could bring in a short-term option and revisit Hall when the market becomes more favourable. But Reds, would you prefer Balde or Lewis Hall? That is a debate worth having. And now we come to another fascinating development. Jean-Philippe Mateta. Manchester United have reportedly opened club-to-club discussions with Crystal Palace regarding the striker, with negotiations said to have begun this morning. The reports also claim Mateta is pushing strongly for a move to Old Trafford. If genuine, this could become one of the most interesting stories of the final stages of the transfer window. Mateta has proven himself as a powerful Premier League striker, capable of holding up the ball, running behind defenders, and giving centre-backs a physical battle. United already have attacking options, but the question is whether Carrick believes another traditional number 9 could give the squad more balance. Imagine having a striker who can occupy two centre-backs, attack crosses, and create space for players arriving from midfield. That could potentially change how United attack. However, United must be careful. They cannot simply sign another forward because the opportunity becomes available. The club needs a clear recruitment strategy. If Mateta arrives, what happens to the existing forwards? What does that mean for Joshua Zirkzee? What does it mean for Rasmus Højlund's future? And how does Benjamin Šeško fit into the bigger picture? Speaking of Zirkzee, his future is also becoming increasingly interesting. Reports indicate that Joshua Zirkzee is ready to move to Juventus and could complete a move within the next week. If that happens, it would bring another major change to United's attacking department. Zirkzee arrived with plenty of expectation, but his time at Old Trafford has not developed as many supporters hoped. Juventus could provide him with an opportunity to restart his career, while United would potentially free up wages and squad space for another attacking signing. But again, the big question is whether United should sell. Would you personally give Zirkzee another chance under Carrick? Or is it time for both player and club to move on? There is still plenty of business to be done. Reds and the next few days could be absolutely massive for Manchester United. One thing is certain, the rebuild is moving quickly, and the pressure is on. If Carrick gets these decisions right, United could begin to build genuine momentum.